I was raised Christian. I was raised to show my faith through service. And I'm just wondering, where did that go? It seems like Christianity is so moored to this type of cruelty.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We do have a caller on the line, so let's go ahead and bring them on the air. This caller is from a 317 area code. 317 area code, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, y'all. I'm a Teamster out of the Heartland.
Teamster out of the Heartland. Yeah, that's fine. Teamster out of the Heartland. What's on your mind?
One of the things I'm really grappling with. I've been involved with movement work most of my life, and I've been involved in labor activism and organizing since about 2016. I've worked with SEIU, Unite Here. I'm now a Teamster, and I've just lately had to, since this re-election, since this, like onslaught of, just the Trump onslaught and everything that they've done with Doge and the immigration stuff, I really had to retool some of my assumptions about people and about organizing, and I'm really grappling with how do you organize in a world where people are delighted with such cruelty, and that's our union brothers and sisters too.
Yeah,
that's not just the boss. As a Teamster, we've had a little addendum to you guys' Boss Watch thing. That Teamster that passed out on the road, his center manager was a center. In that same center, Chris Begley died. I think it was the year before, and a part-timer died that same year that Chris Begley died of a heat injury. And in her previous center, a worker went down from heat on his way home and wrecked his car, and will never be right. He'll never drive a UPS package car again. He'll never ride his motorcycle again. This center manager is still a center manager at UPS, even though we have 4 very serious recorded heat deaths and injuries. That was her responsibility. And within the union, you hear guys talking about, oh, well, it's your responsibility to know when you need to pull the truck over, when you need to, and they're talking this personal responsibility stuff, and they're blaming it on their brothers and their sisters. So, it's not just that our brothers and sisters are delighting in this cruelty when it comes to immigration, but they are taking this personal responsibility line. So I don't know that they can stick their head in the sand or something like that. But for me, as an activist, as an organizer, I'm just not sure how to go forward in a world where we don't care about each other. So that's what I got.
Oof, that's a big one to tackle. I really appreciate your call, and I appreciate you sharing that with us. And I think what you're speaking to is something a lot of people are experiencing right now. I think a lot of activists and organizers are feeling like you're feeling right now. So I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, I'm interested in, if you want to stay on the line, I'm interested in your response to some of my thoughts. I've been having a lot of those, a lot of similar thoughts, specifically around the immigration stuff. I mean, that the stuff that you're talking about that brother in Texas is in a sense even more difficult I would imagine, to grapple with, because at least with the immigration stuff, you can say that like people have kind of been deluded into seeing immigrants as not worker, or as like not the same kind of people, or deluded into believing this idea that you know all undocumented immigrants are criminals and things like that. But I've been, you know, ruminating on this stuff with immigration recently, you know, because I've been, I grew up very religious. I'm not religious anymore, but I've been trying to, you know, I've been wanting to go back to church, and I've gone back to church a few times, and I'm thinking about going back to church regularly. And, you know, I remember, you know, I grew up conservative, right? A Pentecostal type of denomination. And everyone was conservative, and everybody was generally like opposed to illegal immigration or whatever. But it was always still done with like a solemn sort of attitude, and like we want, you know, we don't believe that, you know, illegal immigration should be permitted, and you know, we do need to crack down on it, but like we can understand why somebody would want to cross the border, quote unquote, illegally, and I would probably do the same thing. We just can't, you know, we can't have that, right? And so like we want to deal with it humanely, but we do need to stop it. And you know, I was always kind of like, that's a little, you know, I don't know, it seems like maybe the humanity should extend further, but at least there's like a recognition that these people are human in that attitude. And there's been so much, like you said, I mean, just cruelty, literally making memes about people crying as they are torn from their families. And the only kind of solace that I've been able to take with that is that, you know, like I mentioned with David as we were wrapping up, that there was such a backlash against Trump's anti-immigrant actions and rhetoric in the first term that the country really liberalized on immigration. And I can only hope that is going to happen again, and in a more sustained way and sustainable way, because what we're talking about now is so much worse than it was before. And so maybe it will push people to, after this is over, be more humane and sustainably so.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
You know, I remember there was an undocumented immigrant who got DACA, who, for one reason or another, I think this was back in like 2015, there was concern that her and her family were going to be deported. And she was sort of intermingled in this Pentecostal type community that I was a part of. And, you know, they put out a call on their church's like communication system. Like, we want you to get down and pray right now for so-and-so because she's worried she's going to be deported, right? And this was a peer of mine, somebody my age. And I just thought, like, how beautiful that is, that there's this, you know, there's this rural church, you know, that was, that was willing to do that for somebody because they know that, right? They know that person. And the, you know, when you know these people, you won't be affected by the lies that Trump is putting out, because it is a lie that undocumented immigrants are all criminals and they're hurting people and things like this, right? And so when this comes down and you do see it start to affect people in their communities, there is going to be a backlash, and people are going to want to save the people that they are in community with. And so I think that building community is going to be the thing. And, you know, I mean, we've been, even as bad as things are right now, America has been in worse places before, and we have progressed. I mean, as bad as things are right now, it's not as bad as it has been. And so, you know, I mean, it's very hard to understand how people can kind of be so cruel. But I don't know. I think that building community and relationships is the thing that's gonna bring us out of it, if anything does. But I don't know. I mean, and that's because what else can you do? What else can people like you and I do? Right? Like the other answer is giving up, and we can't do that. So, I don't know. What do you make of that, brother?
Well, I mean, I think it sort of baffles me because I was raised Christian as well. Not I was raised Episcopal, which is a bit of a different context than you. But I mean, what of the traveler? What of the sojourner? What of the downtrodden? That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was raised to show my faith through service, and I'm just wondering where did that go? Where did the Catholic movements that broke into the FBI's office and exposed their dirty trick? What happened to Christians of conscience, right? It seems like Christianity is so moored to this type of cruelty that we're seeing now, and I'm just wondering, like, how do you square that circle? Because there's just such a disconnect from Christian social doctrine and what these MAGA people are doing. And I mean, I think honestly, what we have to do is we have to go find every person of moral conscience and get together with them, regardless of if you have a moral conscience, if you see what's going on and you think that it's wrong, we have to be together with those people. And for everybody else, I don't think we can, appeal to people like that on a moral standpoint, So there's just going to be some people who cruelty is the order of the day, and that's going to be them for the rest of their lives. And we have to deal with those people from a position of strength. No appeal to these people. We're going to have to assert our politics over these people, but that's going to take every single one of us. My politics are far left. Okay. And I don't believe in the Democratic Party being the way out, right? But we're going to still need to support people like Zoran Mamdani, right? Am I going to go door knock? Am I going to go door knock with my local DSA to try and get a progressive Democrat, elected? Absolutely not. Am I going to pack meals for them and help do childcare for them while they're doing that? Hell yes. And so I think that there's a way that we all need to show up for each other. And we need to put aside some of these, now I'm not talking about we need to vote for Gavin Newsom or Amy Klobuchar, one of these neoliberal freaks, right? But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
And
absolutely.
I think the only way going forward is to just collect every single one of us who every single one of us who still believes in human rights, whether they are a conservative, a liberal, a socialist, a communist, and we all need to get together and we all need to say, where can we work together? Because it's going to take every single one of us to surmount these people who are just not going to be moved by the fact that we're all human beings. And just, free,
I really
Yeah.
appreciate
free
it.
Gaza, free Palestine, death to tyrants.
Appreciate the call. Thank you, Heartland Teamster. Appreciate it.
Yeah. There's a lot more I'd say on that, but I know we got our guest on the line, and I think it just takes all of us doing what we can so that we can win what we really need and what we deserve as a better world. And that massive people power is our way out of this. Building a mass working class movement And I agree with the sentiments. We've really got to find people who respect that shared humanity. And, Reverend William Barber talks about the need for a moral revival in this country. And, regardless of your faith or spiritual traditions or perspectives, I think he's on to something there. I think we need a true revival of morality when it comes to our shared humanity and our respect for other people. Appreciate the call.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.